All right. All
Okay.
right.
So thank you, Pepe, for taking your time to have this interview with me. For
Thanks to you, Lisa, for considering me. I'm humble.
so I would like to ask you some questions about how you became an entrepreneur and about your type of innovation you have implemented in your I wouldn't say startup anymore, company. So I would love to know about your background and how did you come involved in your current work? Like, how did you get there?
Um, wow. No, that's a long question. I mean, my background, um I'm from Chiapas, as you know, as you're located from the same town, and I was born and raised there. So it's like a different culture, you know. It's like it's very how can you say, like traditional, right? And the economy is like super, you know, it's like farms and I've always been like a fan of technology. Like all the time I was playing like video games with Tomas, my cousin, like 14 hours a fucking day of Mario Kart or the Legend of Zelda. And I've been always you know, interested on the things that you can do with the computers. And for some reason, I decided to become a lawyer. And why, I have no idea. I think it's because it's really hard to ask 17-year-old kids what do you want to do for the rest of your life. But I decided to be a lawyer, and I really like it. So then I went to Mexico City, completely different place, and I mean, I think that was one big mistake, that I didn't work that much when I was studying. I was making a lot of friends that actually, you know, I was average with my grades. I think that my other classmates, they were genius. Like in ITAM, you find like really smart people, and that's when you start to become like more competitive, right? Because it's like very, can't say stressful because it's only college. There, it's like that's the only thing you have to do with your life. Just study, you know. And so it's not stressful, but you have to know how to work under pressure. Like if you have to read 500 pages in 2 days, you gotta do it, right? And then I started working after law school, and I will and I mean, it's like the legal industry, it's very conservative too, because I mean, you can even see it by the sign of their offices. They have like books, right? Books with law there, because if they look cool. Like you'll have to have your law with your in your hand, you know, like the handbooks ones, because if they ask you questions, you gotta know there. I mean, that's cool. I love to read with books. I'm still not used to like using Kindles, and but besides that, I was impressed about the lack of efficiency, because the working time inside a big law firm is like you go there at 9 a.m. and you go out at 11 p.m. every day. And you have to learn how to do a lot of those things. And a lot of the work there was like very, I can't say repetitive, because every case in every deal was different, but I knew there were things that we could do, like implementing technology. And then fast forward to what I'm doing right now. Uh, so I started at the beginning just with electronic signatures, because I knew that all those papers, I mean, not just contracts, but just the papers that you got to go and give papers in with a bank to to do some kind of request or whatever you want to do there. I was like, why don't you just do it in your computer, and you can save so much time, and the user experience will be better. So I started like like selling the business as a consulting. Like I was giving them like the legal opinion on why they could do it, and then I start selling, to whenever they could. Um, uh, and after, I think it was like 2019, I went to a conference at New York. It's called like Legal Week, and I talked to everybody. Everybody there, like, what do you do? What type of software? So this Legal Week is like a really big trade show.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to all the vendors, and it's like, what do you do, right? And I knew that in at least in Mexico, there were companies asking for something that you can track your contracts, right? And then I was like talking to everybody, and then I found this software that I still work with them. They're called Agileft, and we have a really cool relationship. They're super cool. The software it's amazing, and they trust me because it was only me. It was only me, and they said, like, I asked them if they had like a reseller agreements, and they said yes, we do. And I was like, do you have anybody in Mexico? No, we don't. It's like, I'm the guy. And then I have to do the certification to implement the software, which was a pain in the ass because it took me like 6 months, because I have no, programming. And I mean, you don't need to be like a programmer, but at least it will be better if you have, because you would learn it like easier. And then I started doing that, those, like, implementing those type of softwares, and also the e-signature, not for consulting, but as a software. So we have our own e-signature platform, which is called Firmamex, and we basically sell like to, I mean, a lot of different companies, like big ones, small ones, medium-sized ones, and it's been a journey. It's stressful, but it's really cool because you own your own time. So whenever I want to go to the finca, or I want to go to the beach, I can just go.
Mm-hmm. And so one, you have seen very rapidly that you could be kind of the first in electronic signatures, because I think there are more electronic signature softwares in the market, but maybe there was no in Mexico, right?
I mean, when I started, which was like 2018, that's like 6 years ago, there was a market. I mean, I think it was even before that, because one of my partners, well, he's the founder of Firmamex. He's been in this business in the 80s. I didn't know that existed. I mean, this guy Nacho Mendivil, he's like a genius. Like, he was programming in the 80s, cryptographer for like 40 years. That's like super cool. And that's how I learned a lot on how that business worked. And but I mean, nowadays I saw like there was an opportunity, and one of the main things that I've learned now is that it's all about the people and the network that you do. So I started to talk to everybody. I was doing like events, conferences, so I can meet as much people as possible, and it was good for sales, like bringing the future customers to one single place.
Mm-hmm.
And that was how I started, actually. And I did it actually in the law school that I studied in the time. They were always being like super cool, because they just authorized me to use all the whole university, like the big conference room, which is the Auditorio Balleres, which is huge. And we almost packed it on the first conference. When I saw that, I was like, there's something here. There were more than 200 people in that conference. It was like the first one. And that was super cool, because I really wasn't expecting more than 15.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So yeah, that was super cool. And that helped me, like, to people to get to know me, and always trying like to give you information, like, this is what this is what you have to do, right? And for free. I mean, I'm actually giving away the things that I was charging a lot of money when I started, but I mean, that helped me to have some money to survive for the first couple of years. And I'll just give it for free because it's so easy. I mean, it's not a secret. It's like it's there, just like, and but I mean, every business has like their own blocking things, and well, I mean, the thing that happens with this business is like people's feel afraid of using it. So I'm still doing like evangelism, like make them feel safe, like why it's better, and what do you have to do, what can happen when shit hits the fan. And
Yeah,
so they're like protected.
so actually one of my question was exactly kind of that, only that you kind of switched it. Like
Mm.
how have you adapted your business model to changing market conditions? But actually you are kind of teaching the market how to use your product, right? Or
Yeah,
it's kind of
basically.
your
Yeah,
strategy.
yeah, basically that. Yes, that's a good. I mean, that's become like my marketing plan, because I mean, I've been. So when I quit my last job in the big law firm, I was like, okay, no, what the fuck should I do? I have no sales background at all. So I was like listening to every podcast I could, every YouTube video. I started like following these guys about like personal branding online. I was like, how people are getting money from Facebook or from Instagram, or from LinkedIn, and just like understand how all those platforms work, and also how you can turn them into a sales channel. And I mean, there's a lot of really good content online. Like I mean, I still don't know how to do like a lot of stuff, like like data analytics. I mean, I mean,
So
at the beginning I was like building my own content because there was nothing online. I mean, I was like, this is it, right? So that's how I found that niche. Like there was nothing. And now what I do is like, I don't have any Instagram, no, not Facebook. I just hate social media like that. But I still use Twitter and LinkedIn, because my business is more like B2B, more into business. It's not like B2C, right? Like you can use Instagram to sell a product for somebody that just will put your card there, right? So this is more like B2B, and you need to go through a lot of processes with procurement and with the department that is going to uh, uh, pay money for you, or for the electronic signatures. They always want to talk with you, like, okay, how it works, why I'm going to be sure it's gonna be safe. I mean, it's it's in I mean, maybe Instagram could be useful if you know how to create a lot of content, but the reality is like, I mean, I love to do like the podcast. That's really cool because you can get to know a lot of people, but I really like to go to personal events just to meet people, because that's how I started, and what I'm doing now. Fast forward 6 years now, the best thing is just see the people on the face and try to, people know you, but not because you want to sell them something. It's just because like trying to just like be nice to people, right? It's just like usually like when you go to these events, you ended up talking about a bunch of stupid things instead of talking about the business. But the thing is like, you really like people and people are nice. I mean, it depends on your niche or your vertical, who are your customers, and these type of events. And of course, like there's like different types of businesses, but for my business, it's been like that.
okay, and so kind of your three strategies are like, okay, you have a great product, you do a lot of networking, personal networking,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
you teach yourself all the skills you think are very needed to do sales, no, to make it work, to sell,
Yes.
no?
And like, I mean, I I love the universities that I were to study there, because I feel really grateful for the people that teach me a lot of the things. But in practice, like, I've learned so much more with the content that is available online. Because I mean, of course you get a degree, like I got a law degree, I got the master degree, but it's like very into the legal thing, you know. I mean, if it will be like really useful if I, instead of having my consulting firm, I had a law firm, you know. But for things that are more related into software, that's like a completely different skill set you need. So I mean, at the end, I haven't done any other course in a university or things. I've been attending to a lot of different trade shows around the world, and especially US, because it's like, you know, everything. There's a lot of business there, and all the big events are always like in Vegas, or, you know, California or New York. And uh, I forgot what I was saying. What was the question?
Like what were like your kind of key strategies, which is learning and networking, and that your product is a super
Oh yeah, and the product. I mean, the thing with the product is like, as you can like, I started selling consulting services, like why you should do e-signatures, and now I'm doing like CLM implementation, legacy document import from your previous 15,000 contracts, right? Selling electronic signatures for banks or for financial companies that they want to do, or their loaning process digital. I mean, you start to learn a lot by learning from your customers, like asking them questions like, what's the real problem, right? So like, we've been
strong
doing like,
customer centricity.
yeah, and the thing is, like, since it's like innovation, there's a lot of things, there's a lot of problems that need something that technology can help them. Like, there's a really cool thing that we designed. This was like 3 years ago. um uh so it happened that there was like a legal ruling, you know, like the Supreme Court in Mexico decided that all the insurance company needs to have proof, evidence that they delivered the contracts, you know, like the póliza is like all general conditions of your insurance certificate. Because if you don't have that evidence that you delivered it and they received it, if this person sue the insurance company, they're gonna win. Like almost 100% sure that you're gonna lose, and you're gonna lose a lot of money. And the things, like, of course, like the big insurance companies, they need to do like, they have like thousands, like hundreds of thousands of people, and they have no control of that. And they were thinking like, can you imagine, you know, like going with the, you know, I don't know, like having hiring people just to deliver those papers, and they're like, we gotta find a way on how to do it electronically. And I was like, shit, I mean, we have an e-signature, but I don't think that um the electronic signatures, I mean, they can receive it, but maybe if they don't sign it, they can say like they you know, like they never received that those papers, and they can still sue you. And I was like, I mean, I'm pretty sure they should find a way. And I was start saying like, yeah, we have a solution. And then I receive a call, and uh, how how can it work? And then I was like, okay, so there's people interested in it. And I was like, okay, I start talking with our development team, that they're like really really smart people, like these guys that they live in Hermosillo, Sonora. Fernando and David and Jorge, they're like super smart guys. And then so you know, like CRM systems, so it's like systems that you can send, like, you know, all those emails that you get every day from companies trying to sell you products, right? You got them using CRM systems because you gave them your email, so you can, you know, get the PDF, and then they start to giving you all this information. And the things like those softwares, they can give you statistics, stats about who received the email, who opened the email, and who I don't know, clicked into some link or whatever, you know. And I showed that to them, and they was like, okay, let us just like check how they do it. And then less than a day, like next day, it's like Fed called me like, yeah, so they use like this blah blah blah, and they track it and using blah blah blah. I mean, it's like too technical, but I can't remember how it was. And I was like, okay, but you can find a way on how to do it. And it was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, all right, perfect. So with that thing, we connected it to the system. We have like thousands and thousands of people, and we did like a massive distribution, like to everybody, and we can find a way. So we from what we had with electronic signature, we need some tweaks so you can solve that pain point, right? And we give them evidence. So and whenever they have like a lawsuit, they have the evidence, and then they will be fine. So I mean, it's I can say like there's always something different all the time.
Yeah.
And you just like to like think how to make it work. And it's like, yeah, there's a solution. Okay, boom, you want it, that's there you go.
Okay, perfect. And so you talked about your team, so I would love to know about you as a leader. Like, how would you characterize your leadership style, if you have one, or how does your team look like, and how do you look like as a leader in your team?
I mean, the whole thing that you have to think about is that you want to be a leader. I mean, sounds like very pretentious to use a leader. Like, I don't feel like a leader. It's just like somebody that needs to organize a team so they can deliver a solution to the customer, and you have the customer happy, right? And the thing is that when you start being solo, you know, when you just like decide to open a business, it's just you, your desk, and your laptop. And the things like when you want to do like a lot of micromanagement, you're gonna find that way. You're gonna learn that you need somebody that you does your numbers, your accountability, your taxes, all the invoices, somebody that can help you to do you know, I mean, I used to have like a marketing team that were like 3 people, and now with ChatGPT, I can do like the work of the whole fucking year in like 5 minutes. So I mean, now there's a lot of evolution there, and but being like in the operation of your business, when it's like what are you delivering to your customer, you gotta be sure that your team it's going to let your customers that you're taking care of them. So you need to train them like some like things that sounds like very, you know, basic, but are like the most important things. How to take a call, like how they can talk to the customers, like show them what you've done, get their feedback, right? And if they're asking for something that is out of the scope of the implementation, tell them, because it's going to cost them money. You know, you want them to always know what are they getting, and that they are being taken care of. So the whole leadership thing, it's about how you can delegate that to more people, because you only have a couple of hours a day, you know, like if you want to, like how much hours do you sleep? Like now I'm sleeping like between 6 and 7. I'm like very obsessed with the things. So I know I have it on my calendar, and in Apple Watch how much. But Also, you have your morning routine, right? You want to have your coffee and maybe read for 15 minutes. You want, or you want to go to the gym, maybe, or maybe you want to go to the office very early. You need to have time for like to eat, like to do your mindfulness in case you want to have your head clear, because it works to control stress and all those things. And at the end of the day, maybe you have 12 hours that you can focus for work, but in reality, the time that you only have to do, like to be very efficient in your work, can be just like 4 hours a day, because the rest is more like, sending emails, check everything, but you only have like those 4 hours a day. So you got to learn how to use that time for building business, getting more customers, so you can get paid, so you can pay to your team, and that's the whole thing. So you had to learn what's your business and how you can delegate the stuff, so you can focus into that. Because I mean, you have to work with your, in case you're part of any membership or organization, you gotta be there. You gotta be with your alumni because you want to meet more people. You have time for sales, for calls with your customers. You had to have time to do all the things that we don't like to do, but you still have to do it. And as much as you can delegate the things that not you don't like, and do the things that you like, that's I think that's the whole deal.
Yeah, you don't have to do everything, no? Right? As a entrepreneur.
No, because it's super stressful, because like, like just chill. Like, you don't have to post 4 times a day, like all that kind of thing. It's just like, the best thing is just like, try to think in the long run. Like, this is a business, it's gonna take some time, it's gonna be tough. And every couple of months or every year, just look back and say like, okay, what type of activities actually brought money to the company, and don't do the rest.
Mhm.
Don't do the rest. You don't have to do the rest, right? Like for me, I used to go like every event, every single one. I was going there, and then at the end I was like, okay, so which events brought more money to the company? These ones. Just focus on these ones. Like, you don't have to do all the things. You gotta prioritize your time, because otherwise you'll go crazy.
That's a good point. And now a little more philosophical. I don't know if you even do that, but I would be interested if you no, if you have like or do you think your innovation or your company has some impact on society, or have you
Yes,
measured it somehow, or how you could measure
we
it?
are we are going to save the world and bring peace. No, seriously. Like, can you imagine? Like, I mean, you're German, but I don't know. Like, in Germany, do you still do things in paper?
Yes, a lot.
And do you like it?
No.
Why? It's a pain in the ass, right?
Yeah.
Why do you have to print things and sign them and deliver them and move to like things from school, from the government, to pay your taxes, to do a line in the bank, to all those things, sending documents with courier services, like FedEx or whatever.
Yeah,
It's always annoying. There's long lines and you waste time. And you're German, so you like to be very efficient, right? And you don't want to do a link. So, and like, I was doing like some research and also asking ChatGPT, because I use it like 4 hours a day. Like, what was the paper market? And when it showed me like the number of trees that they gotta cut just to do a piece of, I mean, we already do have a lot of trash, cardboard. We have toilet paper. That's a lot. There's a lot of things that we need to use, because you're not going to wipe your butt with not comfortable paper. Okay, that's something that still needs to be there. But the other things that you need to print and to send and to go back, and they can be lost in the time that you need to read them. I mean, it's not a book. I hope it will be like an Isaac Asimov novel, a contract. It's the pain in the ass. You can have it in your phone with your Dropbox, with whatever you want to do. Like if you want to do some kind of things with your college or university or school or government, it's just like send them an email with the files, right? Or just have a system. Like maybe the company should have system to do all the portal things, just like you do like a money transfer, which is like wireless, and you can do like that. I mean, that's the only thing you got to do. And when that happens, it's gonna save a lot of things. I mean, I like today I just did this with the embassy of Spain. There's like this type of paperwork that I was doing today, and man, like you can see the amount of paper there. They still writing with hand. I'm not kidding you, with hand.
Yeah,
And
I can
they
imagine.
they you can only go there every Wednesday. What the fuck? If you could do it everything electronically, that's and the e-signature is the only thing that is going to give you the security, the warranty that is the original one. That's the thing, is the original one. That's why they want you to give you the piece of paper, because they want the original one. But when you do when you use e-signature, that PDF, that's the original one, and you can send them, upload it, send it by WhatsApp, send it by email. You can send it like very easy. Not like nowadays, even the picture with the new iPhone is more, it's heavier than a PDF, right?
Yeah.
So yes, I believe it's gonna save the world.
Perfect. Okay. And if you're gonna look like in the future, like maybe 10 years, like
Yeah,
what are your goals, or and what are your plans to achieve that?
that's a very good question. And you know what? I mean, if things are going fine, right? Like, what's like best case scenario, right? Because like
That's your goal, no?
sometimes, yeah. You gotta be like ready for any case. I mean, in the best case scenario, really, the one the I mean, I mean, I don't want to sound like bad, but I really want to do something good for my state in Chiapas. Like, like opening things for the kids. Like if they need some kind of treatment with the hospital, like they can have something like that, because they're like kids, and they're like very, very nice people that they can have like some job opportunities, right? Because like there's very hard work people, and I mean, I think like if I ever work in the government, it will be like in tourism, because I'm like the best one to
Okay.
say good things about my hometown. So that would be like one of the best things that I could do like in 10 years.
Mhm.
And that's like my personal, like that's like my personal thing that I would like to do. For
Mhm.
the business, I mean, so I really love to travel. Like in my family, I was like um very lucky that they love to travel a lot. So we were always traveling with the whole family, and I love to go to different places and to learn about their culture. Learning the best swearings in the different languages. Like I can say "fuck you" like in 20 different languages. Like all those kind of things. And I wish I could like do the things that I like and travel, like having customers all around the world and learn from them. That would be amazing, right? Like, I mean, that's been like one of my goals since I started the business. Like, like, I mean, right now I would say that I'm I've been traveling a lot, but I want to like have presence, business presence, like trying, because these things that I'm doing, I'm pretty sure like can work everywhere. And having a company with global presence, that would be amazing. Like, like traveling around doing the things that I like. Because I mean, one of the main reasons why decided to do my own thing was because I want to take my own decisions, and I want to do, um, um, I forgot what I was going to say.
Like maybe you could answer the question like what has been the most rewarding thing of being an entrepreneur, and that could be like one, no, that you
Oh
could.
yeah, like meeting people from all around the world. I think that's been like super cool, because it's been like, mm, because even when you see a lot of the people that you've been in the trenches, like going through a lot of the things that you've been going through, is it's very cool. And to give something back to people, and when they say to you, hey man, I mean, that happened at clock. That was like super cool. I was just like in the bar, in the restaurant, and then there were like some people. They were like, they look like big shots. And then there was a guy who just like tapped me on my shoulder. He's like, "Hey, Pepe, this is man, I can't remember the name." And I listen to your podcast, and I'm like every week I'm just like waiting until the new episode. It's like, you're doing things great, and thank you for talking about things that people don't know how to explain. And I mean, that's how I remember how he said it. I can't remember the exact words. And I was like, wow, that's cool. And that feels really good. And because it's it's been like a roller coaster, because a lot of times you go really good, and then go down, and then go up again, and then go down and go up
Yeah,
again.
maybe you could tell me about like you remember one example of a crisis or a hard time, because probably there are more, but maybe you could take one example and how was your strategy to get out of it, or not to
I've
say.
been broke. I've been broke like 20 times.
Okay.
What I have is like, I have a picture in my phone with my bank account with 12 pesos and a debt of, I paid it some quite recently. And that's been like, but you gotta find a way on how to solve that. Because when I was like, I mean, you always have to think about like what's going to be like the worst case scenario. And in my case, the worst case scenario is just like going back to work as a lawyer. I mean, just think about it. I mean, if I owe things to the bank, it would be like, yeah, whatever. What are going to take from me? Like my computer and my turntables? I don't think so. So actually, just like think about the worst case scenario. And I would always remember when I was at law school, and I went back home, and my dad asked me like, how you been? And I told him, very stressful. And I started talking about like why, blah blah blah. And my dad was like, that's not stressful. You don't know what's stress. Stress is when you have a family and you got 3 kids, and you only have a couple of pesos in your bank account, and you need to find a way on how you can solve that. That's been stressful. And I was like, fuck yeah. I have no idea how that feels like. So I mean, it's, you just how to find a way on how to solve the things. And of course things are going to be bad, and then it will get worse, and then it will get really worse, and then it will kick you in the ground. But it's your obligation to find a solution, because nobody gives a shit. And I can't remember where I listened to this one. I think it was like some of the YouTubers that I've been, when I started. I think it was Gary Vaynerchuk. He's like really cool. It's like he said something like, Nobody gives a shit about the bad things that are happening to you in your life. Like, just keep your head up, and if things are going bad and people are asking you about how are you doing, don't ever say like, oh, it's going, like you're suffering. Fuck that. Like, you will, like, people want to see like you're doing good, and you just have to buckle up and say like, yeah, I mean, it's going okay. I mean, I have my parents, I have my family, I have all the important things are there. So if, like, even when money is really important to grow your business, it's not everything. So just like think about the worst case scenario, and I
Okay,
mean,
that's a good point.
learn how to eat a lot of shit. That's
Yeah,
that's the main
for the first,
recommendation, because things are going to be very bad, but if you just have to just
keep going.
keep going.
Okay. Well, I think we kind of answered all the questions, at least from all the topics one. And thanks so much. I will give you my summary about the interview. And yeah,
Okay.
thanks so much. And if you like, I can also upload it on LinkedIn and
Yeah.
tag you if you're all right with that.
Yeah,
And
sure.
yeah, thank you.
I give my consent. By this
We'll make
way,
it
I
like one
authorize
picture if you want.
Frau Lisa Edelmann to upload my video. Let me just stop the recording.